Okay, I know emotions are running hot right now on both sides of this thing. If you're Miami, you're juiced. It's like waking up if you're Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. The ghost of Christmas future just came to visit you, and he said, actually, you woke up, you got a second lease on life, you're in the college football freaking playoff. You thought for the better part of the last few months you weren't going to make it, but here you are. You're in the dance. If you're Notre Dame, you're like, wait a second, we were 9 a couple of weeks ago. But now we're out just like that. We will unpack both sides of this. Notre Dame fans, I feel for you. Miami fans, we celebrate with you. I feel for both sides of this. Before we get to that, you're a college football sicko. We got a lot of ball left to be played still in the college football playoffs. So make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. If you're following me on the social platforms, Instagram and Twitter, at JD Pickell. We called our shot before the rankings dropped. We told you we think Miami's going to be at number 10. Miami wasn't number 10, and we are where we are right now. So let's start here. This whole situation is a freaking mess, and it's nobody's fault. It's not Notre Dame's fault the college football playoff structure is stupid with having the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. It's not Miami's fault. They ended up flipping y'all at the very last minute. I guess in some ways it is your fault because you beat Notre Dame. The system is a mess. I want to give this disclaimer. Both teams are 2 of the top 12 teams in college football. Both teams, should you put them in a 12-team bracket, could win some games and, dare I say, go make a run at playing for a national championship. That is what the facts of the matter is. Unfortunately, we have to have this discussion, though, in the context of a framework that gives us 2 G5 teams in the college football playoff. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Now, if you're Notre Dame, as much as you can blame the system, as much as you probably feel validated in blaming the system and the rankings being wonky, you knew what it was the entire year. You knew what it was. You knew those first 2 games of the regular season would go a long way in determining where you stood on Selection Sunday. And while the whole time we kind of thought you were in a good spot, I mean, your boy over here penciled you into the college football playoff. The further these rankings progressed, you knew what it was with the schedule you had and not playing in the conference. You knew there was no safety net. And so while you can argue about having 2 of the quote-unquote best losses in the country in the loss to A&M and the loss to Miami, we said when this game was played in week 1, hey, just food for thought, there is a world where you have a 10-2 Notre Dame and a 10-2 Miami, and it ends up being a tiebreaker for you. We said that back in week 1, and lo and behold, that was the way this whole thing shook out. Now, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I'm pretty okay with hypotheticals. Like, genuinely, in the world of college football, it's always been about hypotheticals. Like, we don't have a game where Ohio State and Georgia play each other during the regular season. However, we have Ohio State ranked over Georgia because, hypothetically speaking, we think Ohio State is better than Georgia. And I'm cool with that. The reason why that has to be said out loud in this situation is, hypothetically speaking, if Notre Dame played Miami again, would Miami be a dog in that game for neutral site with the way that Notre Dame's played the last couple of weeks? I don't know. I think a lot of people, if they played that game again, would pick Notre Dame to beat Miami based on how Notre Dame has played and progressed the rest of the season, because that was C.J. Carr's first start. There was a lot going into that. I hear all that. But this is not a hypothetical. We saw these 2 teams play. We saw this game happen in week 1 of the college football season. And so while hypotheticals, I think, are a part of college football, it doesn't apply here. And yes, the system sucks. Yes, these teams should both be in the college football playoff, but you can't ignore what happened in week 1 of the season. You just can't do it. You can't do it. So if you're Miami, like I said, it feels very much like a Christmas Carol. You woke up, you thought for the better part of the last few months you were out of the college football playoff, and lo and behold, you get flipped at the end of the day with BYU losing. You put Miami and Notre Dame right next to each other. You say, okay, head-to-head has to matter. It does matter. And you got a new lease on life. Y'all, Miami, hear me very clearly, they are good enough to make a run in this college football playoff. Like, I don't think Cristobal and the boys are just happy getting in. I'm sure they're happy getting in, but I think they actually could make a real run at this thing. Why? Because Carson Beck has continued to progress throughout the entirety of the season. Remember now, Carson Beck did not get spring practice, was on a pitch count during fall camp. So what does that mean? It means he's still building his rep base with this entire offense. I don't think it's a coincidence that from the SMU game forward, he threw 8 touchdowns and no picks. He was unconscious towards the latter third of their season. Okay, I don't think that's an accident. Now, maybe some of it has to do with the competition they're playing. I totally respect and hear that. But if Carson Beck is going to be more and more dialed into this offense, I don't think you have a ton of questions about Miami. Like, the reason why I think Miami made you nervous is because they did stupid stuff. Throw 4 picks against Louisville, bad pick to end the game against SMU. Like, there was times where you're like, Miami, where are you at? Nobody ever questioned Miami's personnel. And so as much as you can have a gripe with Miami being in the college football playoff, again, I'm all the way here for it. I think it makes sense. We predicted it would happen. I think Miami could do more than just make the college football playoff. I think they could be a team that legitimately goes on a run here and makes some noise because they have the personnel to do it. Make no mistake about it. Now, one more thing I want to touch on here before we roll out of here. JMU and Tulane being in the college football playoff, it's no knock on those teams. It's a knock on the system. Going back to what I just said. Notre Dame is the first team out of the college football playoff, all right? JMU is ranked 24th. So it's disingenuous to say, well, we want to take the best 12 teams. No, you don't. You want to take the best 7 teams, give or take, then the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. And if those teams in that group of 7 don't fit into the top 12, it is what it is, but, we'll just go how we go. That's disingenuous to the entire idea of having the 12 best teams in college football. So I understand this. I get this. The structure sucks. But at the end of the day, when you put Notre Dame and Miami that close together in the rankings, you have to honor head-to-head, and I think the committee did the right thing. So Miami, go make us all right. Go make some more from the college football playoff. They have all the personnel to do it, and I cannot wait to watch that first-round matchup with them playing A&M. It'll be a great test for both sides. So, Miami fans, let me know the vibes in the comment section. Notre Dame fans, same deal. Let us know how you're feeling. Looking forward to hearing from y'all in there. But for Kato on the ones and twos, for myself, JD Piquel, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.